Welcome back. Today we'll be starting the Grand Battle of Gaines Mill. As you can see, we're bringing 20 brigades in our first corps and just shy of 10 brigades in our second corps, so we've almost filled up everything. Although to be honest, we probably won't need this last division, or this one. I seem to recall that some of these divisions show up late, and I don't remember exactly how many troops you get. But we'll see. We've bulked out with a lot of rookies, not quite to the max size that I like, but to a reasonable size, and we'll just feed them full of rookies later again as these guys wither down, because these guys are not as small, ironically, as they really should be for this to work, but we'll manage somehow. Got our skirmishers in play here, 2 units cavalry, good mix of artillery, and then our second corps, much of the same, kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel here, but again, we'll do what we can. Last career point went into politics, closing in on maxing that out, although the next couple points probably go back into army organization. Armory, still we purchased everything that's interesting all the way out here, purchased all the Sharps rifles, purchased the JF Browns of course. Cavalry, I went ahead and I started buying up the 1859s so that we can start graduating some units to those. And artillery, I've started buying the 14-pounder James. Cash-wise, you can see we are starting to run a little bit low again from the bulking out we did, but this should hopefully keep us instead all the way through Malvern at least. So we'll get a couple big infusions. I don't see a pressing need to buy any of these. I took parrots earlier off screen for 6 rep, pretty cheap. So report was they get 1,600 more men, but finally they get drill instructors, so their training has gone up from I think it was 35-ish last battle to 43, so that's not great. That's what we're trying to avoid, but you know, so be it. Battle of Gaines Mill. Our army is participating in General McClellan's invasion of the Virginia Peninsula. Confederates' aggressive maneuvers were not expected. General Lee, instead of using his forces to defend versus a much larger army, ordered a concentrated assault towards the right flank of the invasion force. We began to withdraw to the south. After a few miles' march, we must prepare a strong defensive line against Boatswain's Swamp in an effort to stop the Confederate advance. We'll have only 1 full corps at your disposal and some extra units for reserves. The rest of the unit's forces are needed elsewhere. We're solidly on defense. They've got not quite a 2-to-1 manpower advantage. It's 4-to-3 basically, because we're bringing so many more troops than really you need to. They still have a lot of guns as per usual, because I just don't see the point in you take efficiency losses if you start bringing too many guns per brigade. But this is still, in my opinion, a fairly easy grand battle once you get past the initial rush, which hopefully we will be able to do so. Sir, our forces are executing a tactical withdrawal to prepare for Lee's attack on our right flank. Our objective is to hold the line along Boatswain Creek and protect the main Union army deployed a few miles south. Rebels are currently marching towards our location and preparing for a major assault. Unknown enemy numbers may attempt to surround us from the northeast. We must hold our position and not allow the Confederates to pass through. Otherwise, our army will be in great danger of being surrounded and destroyed. The only reinforcements we expect are a few elements of our own corps. The rest of your Union forces must hold a defensive line against a possible rebel attack from the west. General, the rebels are pursuing us and are coming down this road past Gaines Mill. We must buy time for our army to establish a defensive line along Boatswain Creek. It's advised to deploy skirmishers and delay the enemy. Okay, pause. Okay, just take a look at your conditions. You must hold one of these 2 initial points, and you must hold McGee Hill, which is somewhere in this direction. So if you absolutely must, you can give up either one of these VPs. In terms of having a sort of a solid defensive line, you could give this one up and hold here instead if you feel like you're too overextended trying to hold this entire area. And hold here along and protect this VP back here. Or you could give up or more realistically be forced out of this VP and hold using this tree line here to protect this one and hold along to the south here. If you come in with a fairly weak army and or you just basically don't know this battle, you could be forced into doing that. No shame in that. You notice that there are earthworks fortifications here, 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 and here. Sort of naturally, sort of you get inclined to take these and you sit here and you defend, and eventually you actually probably get pushed off. As I've said many times in the past, early fortifications are a trap. These are especially a double trap, in fact, because if you look just across the river, hey, look at that, there's cover in all along these places. So what happens is you sit in these fortifications, the enemy walks up, they sit into these cover positions, you trade unfavorably, very unfavorably, and eventually you get pushed off and your entire line gets rolled. Don't do that. Instead, you yourself, we will walk across the river effectively and take these positions along this line, right along here. We'll take the natural curve over here just to protect your flank. You've got, in fact, strong building cover here to anchor against, sort of. Curve back this way so that they can't really get around you. And you can pretty much stuff the Confederate advance right here. Look at all this open ground. You catch them in this, and you crush them. You'll get what will end up happening is that they'll get sort of two thrusts. If you do this properly, they'll get one thrust against here, and they'll start probing out here, and then a second wave will come in, and they'll crash in along here. And then eventually, you got the warning also in the briefing that the Confederate Second Corps will enter the map from the northeast and start making their way basically straight down towards where your the other VP is located. And you can, timing-wise, you can basically meet them with your own reinforcement corps, and it's not a big deal. Or you can even start rotating forces over to catch them, because at this point the enemy is basically spent as a force up here. So, with that said, we basically need to retreat as quickly as possible. Especially the artillery, don't want to let those guys get caught. We'll leave skirmishers here. We'll put our combined division right here on the edge of the line as an anchor. This is 14. Where is my second division? They're there. Okay. So they're going to combine in with them. The other elements of my... Get them to sit right there. Okay, so these guys are interesting. They're pretty green, and we would expect we want this unit actually to take some hits. But we also want to be prepared for them to break. So we're going to have some units basically right next to it ready to back it up. So our third division... Okay. Here, and right here. We're going to move our snipers down around here, and they're going to creep around. If you do this right, you catch the enemy artillery right around here, and you can snipe them to death. We're going to take our cavalry as well, and they're just going to hide down here out of sight. I'll take the VP first. This is again howitzers, so around here should be good. We'll have them up here basically anchoring. And detach some skirmishers. So we're going to have some skirmishers sitting on this point. If memory serves, the Confederates do have a unit of skirmishers that will start to leak into here to threaten your back lines, especially if you shift up your front lines like I suggest. Just have like one skirmisher just sit back here. You can have them effectively duel them, and just stall them out until you can get somebody else who can actually respond to it. These guys are there literally just to stall and keep an eye out. I don't see the need to have anybody else back there. Okay. There is an observation point here. If you, for whatever reason, really have... you can put a unit back here to help with spotting. You don't really need to, in my opinion. And I'll go ahead and do it, but you don't really need to. So as usual, just play skirmisher games out here. Just refining our line ever so slightly. You see here they've got pretty good cover in all of these locations, a little sparser here, but generally this is pretty good. So, okay. Want to pull them back here. These skirmishers stumble straight into your units here, who they can't see, and they just get blown up. So the only downside to taking this location here is, as you can see, there's a bit of a line of sight issue, where they can sort of get up to here, but okay. So now if we are good and lucky, I can catch these skirmishers here right now. Because their, as I said, their initial advance is going to start pushing them this way. So yeah, and there's the artillery I was trying to catch. I'm going to let them keep routing out this way. Because I don't want these guys to get shot at. Shift him up there. Starting to get into the woods, which is kind of unfortunate. Okay, so now they've gotten a fair bit of kills on these guys. We'll pull them back. So let them rest up, recover their condition. Alright, see, they're starting to turn because they can no longer see them. I'm going to sneak in here and take another shot on this artillery. Okay, I'm ready to shift around and rotate. We're going to pull these skirmishers up. You can see this unit over here is getting kind of cheeky. Just want to make sure that you face these guys in good cover. Like so. Couple of shots. And I'm going to run these cavalry straight into these skirmishers. Run them over. Fortunately, the morale's kind of taking a hit, so... And we're just trying to continue eliminating these skirmishers who are thankfully kind of like trapped against them. There we go. Perfect. That's one unit of skirmishers down. So we're going to let their morale recover, or gonna let their condition recover, and try to bait them into another shot. Okay. Let these skirmishers... I was going to say let these skirmishers pursue, but I think I'm just going to let them run off instead. There we go. There we go. We'll call it for this video right there. Thanks for watching.